In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step how you can create your very own AI agent that can handle your email inbox, that can handle everything that comes in and determines whether or not it's a high priority, low priority, customer support, or finance department. And you can customize this whichever way that you want, depending on what your needs are. So if you stick with me to the end of the video, you'll see and walk through with me step by step and how you can build this out for yourself. And you can understand why I chose to do whichever way I did here. So the thing that it did and changed up here is that I actually involved myself as a human inside a loop. It's actually called human in a loop, where I can approve or disapprove depending on what the case is. But in this instance, it's going for high priority emails because let's face it, high priority emails could be potential clients, potential leads, potential money, maybe it's customer complaints, whatever the case may be. We want to get that involved. We want to get ourselves involved right away. If you like this type of content, my name is Palmer Joseph. I've been playing around with N8N for quite a while now. I've built out a lot of AI automations. Take a moment to smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the channel because that lets me know I'm doing a good enough job for you. Then I'll keep on making this type of content on a daily basis to show you how you can use this for yourself to become more productive, more efficient, and become a bigger asset in the workplace because as we already know, more and more employers want employees that have expertise in AI automations, and I want you to be part of that. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So this is the entire workflow. As you can see right here, this is a full automation. I actually created this before, but this time I upgraded it to have ourselves in the loop. Like I said, it's called human in the loop. I'll walk you through exactly how to set this up for yourself. But if you want the entire workflow and have it in your N8N instance right away, you can join the free community by clicking a link in the description below, joining the free community and getting yourself a copies. And what you got to do is once you get inside the community, you can go into the YouTube videos section, find whichever corresponding video that it is that you want, click on it, and you'll get the JSON file along with the YouTube video that actually walks you through the entire setup. So once you have that done, click on this guy, download it to your computer, come back to your N8N, come back to the top right corner, click on the three dots, and click on import from file and choose a file that you have downloaded it from your computer and have it installed, and this will be exactly pasted out into your workflow right away. So if that's what you want to do, you can go for it. So what I want you to understand right now is that I'm not going to go through the entire workflow because if you want the entire understanding and breakdown of every single node, in particular for this entire one, minus the human in the loop portion, click on the top right corner and card there because that'll walk you through exactly how to set this all up. What I'm focused on today is to help you understand how to create human in the loop portions of it so you can be involved to approve or disapprove, determining whether or not what it is that you actually want them to do. So let's walk through that and show you a quick demo of how this actually looks like. So I just created myself a fake email from myself. Basically, this is what it looks like. It just says, looking for assistance. Hey, Palmer, my name is John Doe. Like I said, this is fake. Plastic surgeon looking for automations to set up 2 different locations. Wants AI agents to handle emails and calls. Budget of $15K to start, but negotiable depending on the scope of the project. Get back to me, blah, 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 blah. So I'll just mark this as unread as if we've never got into this email before, but you have an understanding of what this actually looks like. So let's come back to the N8N, execute the workflow. It's going to pick up that email that I just reviewed with you. It has determined and classified as high priority. If I zoom in real quick, right there, high priority, it went down this branch, came back up, went into the set node, went into the AI agent, went into the Gmail to basically ask whether or not I approve it. So we can come back to our Gmail inbox right now. Quick refresh right here. Let's take a look. So this is what it says. Hi there. We received a high priority email that requires your attention and approval. So this is the email that's going to get sent. Dear John, thanks for reaching out regarding your needs for automation in the plastic surgery practice. I didn't even say any of this. This sounds professional and polite, which is great. With a budget of $15K, explore various options, better assist you, let's schedule a call, discuss specific needs, blah, 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 blah. Now, I can tell if I approve this, I can just choose, click on respond. This will bring up this section right here. Response will be a drop down. If I approve it, then great. If I disapprove, I can give it feedback. So in this instance, let's just say disapproved. I'll give it some feedback saying, find out when this needs to be done because that was not involved in the email. Submit that off, come back to N8N. That goes down this branch, comes back to the AI agent. This time it goes through the whole process all over again in the loop to get me to approve or disapprove. So let's take another look, come back to the inbox, refresh that. Here it is once more. This new email, subject regarding automation project for your practice, blah, 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 blah. Happy to discuss the scope of this further, tailor the solutions to your needs. Please let me know when you would like, ideally, to implement these changes. Information will help us in planning the proper timeline effectively. Let's respond back and say it's approved this time. Send this off, submit, close that off. This time it has been approved, so it goes down this branch, and now it has sent me an email to that actual person that sent the email and let me know in Telegram right here that says your high priority email has now been sent. Perfect. So that is a human in the loop to get us involved to improve or disapprove, because I have to set this up for high priority emails, because like I said, if it's a potential client, we want to make sure we get that handled so they don't go off to another competitor and we lose that potential money. Or if it's a complaint, then we want to handle that right away, because we don't want them getting more pissed off if we just ignore them. Let's go and break this down a little bit further to help you understand how this all comes together. All right. Okay, so every workflow starts with a trigger. In this instance, in this demo, this obviously starts with a Gmail trigger. And how we get this, in the top right corner, just type in Gmail, click on this guy, scroll down to the bottom, get the trigger. There's only one trigger, and this is on message received, because we want to know whenever there's a new message, it'll trigger and it actually gets sent this out. And this is what we have is set up as. We obviously need to have our Google credential or Gmail credential set up. If you don't know how to do that, if you have not set that up yet, all you got to do is click in the top right corner there in the card. That'll walk you through how to set this up. It's just out of the scope of this video. I don't want to waste your time, but it's a 4-minute walkthrough. Set that up and you're set to go. Everything is set up the way it is. Message received for our event. I turned off Simplify. I added a filter and I turned off Include Spam and Trash, because we don't want to deal with those kind of crap. So that is done. What we do next is we go into classifier. I'm just going to skim through this really quick. Top right corner, type in text classifier, grab that. And what we do in here, we give it 4 different categories. You can add more categories if you so choose to, depending on what your needs are. But I have mine set up as high priority, customer support, finance department, and low priority. And a quick system prompt that is absolutely default, but it's super simple. Now, I'll breeze through this really quick. Again, if you want the entire breakdown, more in depth as to how this entire workflow works and how it's configured, click on the top right corner there for the card to see the whole breakthrough. But I want to make this as simple as possible, and I'm focusing on the human in the loop portion of it. But I basically just told it how to determine what is high priority, how to determine what is customer support, give it examples, finance department, and low priority. So that is basically all set to go. As you can see, it created 4 different branches as we zoom in right here: high priority, customer support, finance department, low priority. That is all set up and ready to go. But like I showed you a second ago, it basically pulled that email that it has received, because it's a potential client with a budget, and I have taught this AI agent to classify high priority emails if they mention the word budget, timeline, deadlines, any of that kind of stuff, because those are very strict and very specific to what I'm looking for, and they're considered high priority. So with that being said, I made a Gmail node to add labels. As you can see right here, how you get that is top right corner, type in Gmail once more, click on that guy. We're going to add a label to message, and once you do that, I'll double click on that really quick. Again, attach this, connect your credentials to make this work. Everything remains the same. The message ID will be the JSON ID from before. I'm going to choose the actual ID that I've set up. As we can see right here, those are my 4 IDs, right? And now as you can see, it's also labeled. Perfect. So I just want to execute this workflow a little bit just to show you how I get all these little variables working. So let's press play on that again. It's going to pull out the same email that we showed a second ago. It's going to classify this as high priority, which goes down that route. It's going to label it as high priority, which is perfect. Now, here's the most important part. This is how we start the setup for our human in the loop portion. So first off, we're going to do a set node. What that is click on the top right corner, type in set. It'll be this pencil right there. Click on that, and you'll get this guy right here. I have named it as optional feedback, and I have given it 2 different fields. So you have to understand what they have to go through to have this set up. So when this is all blank, you click on this guy, which will pop up the first one. I gave it a name, which is email. It's camel case email body, to help it understand what I'm looking for. And to get the variable for this, basically go into the text classifier or email classifier, and we get the text. So it'll be right here. So I drag and drop that in there. It'll be the exact same thing. So as you can see right now on the right side, it's the same. We're going to get rid of that because we don't want the exact same thing in there. It'll just be confused, and we don't want confusion, right? Let's get rid of that really quick. Perfect. So now we can execute the step. As you can see right here, I have a second field which is called feedback and it's blank. We'll get back to that in a second, but just understand this is set up prior in advance to help you see how this actually works before it goes into the second AI agent to create the response email, determining whether or not how to respond to the actual email. So we'll come back to that in a second. As you can see, we have an output, which is email body, which is great. Feedback is empty, and it's fine. So we'll leave that a second. Next, we go into the email, the AI agent, how you get this guy. top right corner, type in AI agent, you get this guy. Click on that. Let me explain to you how this looks like. So everything will be blank when you first start off. This is super simple. So for prompt for user message, I told it what it's got to look out for. So how we get this set up is write a response to the high priority email. So we're letting it know that it's here to handle high priority emails. And where we get this variable is we come back to the text or email classifier, give it the same text so it knows what to look or read, and drag it in there. Perfect. Now, make sure you remain polite and professional. We don't want to be rude, especially when it comes to high priority emails, high priority clients. We don't want to be a dick because that'll look bad on us, right? Another one is if there's any feedback to update or change the email, this is the information, which is a JSON.feedback, and we get that from the set node from before. But as you can see, as you can see right here, it is blank. So even if I drag it in there, it's going to be blank, right? But let's get back to that in a second, and I'll show you and explain to you why that happened. I went to the bottom, I added an option to give it a system prompt to show you what that looks like. You're a helpful assistant. This is exactly default. I just tacked on this. You have to respond to emails that have been classified as high priority, professionally, and efficiently. This the email, same thing. I went to the Gmail trigger, took the text out of there, right there. So this is what actually gets sent to me in the very beginning. So it actually understands what to look out for. Make sure to output the following subject and message body because I want to have that separated out. And I can use an output parser to actually separate this out, and I'll show you how to do that. This current date and time, just let the computer know or the AI know that today is now, because if it doesn't know what date it is, it's going to use up some completely weird day, and we don't want that. And to sign off as Palmer XYZ Company, change this to whichever way you want because we want the emails to be actually signed off as whoever we are. So customize that whichever way you want. If you leave it as default, it'll sign off as myself, and whoever receives this email will be like, who the hell is that? It's kind of weird. So that is how you set that up. I gave it a chat model, which click on the little plus sign here. I gave it 4.0 mini. It's up to you whichever way you want. And the output parser, how you get this guy, is going to toggle this guy on. So if I toggle this off, that little branch there to add on the output parser will not be there. So you have to make sure you toggle that on. Once you have that toggled on, you add this guy, which is the structured output parser. So let me just break this off and I'll show you how to get that. Click on the plus sign. Make sure you choose this one at the bottom. The other ones I don't use, they're not great, but let me attach this back. Double click on that. This will be blank, and I gave it this very simple understanding of JSON code. Basically, I want to segment out the subject line in the email body, because if you don't do this, the output will be all clumped together. It will not be able to segment out which is the subject line and which is the email body, and it'll just be a mess. So this output parser actually separates those two, and this is important for you in the next step, and I'll show you why. So let's get out of there. Next is we want to set a human in the loop node, and how you get this is very important. So watch this really quick. Top right corner, instead of typing in Gmail, we don't want that. So you scroll down and you see this human in the loop function. Click on that, and this time we choose Gmail, right? As you can see, this is exactly the same as this. So if you zoom in really quick, it says send and wait message, send and wait message. That is how you get the human in the loop for your Gmail. There are other options, as you can see. You can do it through Discord, Google Chat, respond to chat, send emails, Slack, Telegram, WhatsApp, whatever you want. But in this situation, we're using Gmail. So once you have that set up, click on it, connect your credentials again. Everything remains the same. Choose whichever email it is. So in my case, obviously it's my email, so my email is in there. The subject line, I kept it as fixed because I just wanted to come back when it sends the email off. As we can see, when we actually execute the step, let me just press play on this really quick. Then it goes into the human in the loop Gmail node. Now it sends us an email where we can confirm by going in here. As you can see, the subject line is high priority email approval required. So we come back into the human in the loop node. The subject, as I kept as a fix, will be exactly as it looks like right there. And now the message that I wanted to do is that it says, hi there. We received a high priority email that requires your attention and approval. Here's the email content. So it's a variable all the time. So we take this, drag and drop it inside. Good to go. We left the subject because we're leaving this for the next node, succeeding, so it knows how to differentiate which goes where, right? So as you can see, this is the email that has created from the AI agent for my approval, for me to either disapprove or approve, right? Right, so to actually have this set up properly the same way that I have it set up, so basically let me show you right now. So the approval and disapproval thing, I can click on respond, and this brings it up right here. So I have a drop down that says approved or disapproved, and also a feedback message to let it know what to change up if there's any feedback. So how we set this up is we come back into the send and await message Gmail node, scroll down to the bottom. In the drop down, default would say approval. Okay, we don't want that. We just want custom form. So click on this guy, which will bring you these options right here. So what we want to do is we add a field option. Once we do that, as you can see right here, we gave it an option. What I put in here is that I want to put in a response. Okay, that is what it's going to look like when you actually come in here. So response will drop down approval, disapproval. Okay, come back in here. So this will say response, and I chose drop down list out of all these options. So I chose the drop down list, gave it two options, which is approved and disapproved, and I made sure to turn on required field. Next, I gave it another form element, which is feedback, because we come back here, there's another element, which is feedback. As you see, it's no star because it's not required, because if it's approved, then don't need any feedback, right? Come back in here. Like I said, chose the form element, gave it a field name, which is feedback, which is going to be text out of the drop down because we want to make sure it's a text. Placeholder, just what it sees, what would you like to change, and I made sure to leave required field off, right? So if we come back in here, obviously it's waiting for our authorization or approval. As you can see, it's still spinning. It's not going to move on to the next part of the workflow until it actually gets approval or disapproval. So let's come back in here and say disapproved, find out who his partners are, submit. I just made something up. So once that's done, goes down this branch is an if branch. So as we come in here, how we set this up is to go in the top right corner there, type in if. It'll be this looking one. The switch one is kind of the same thing, but I chose if. So once you choose if, what we do here is we get the response. Okay, how we get this is we go for the previous node, which is the approval email node. We drag and drop this in here, which will be the data response, but we don't want that, so let's just get rid of it because we already have that set up. And from here, I chose to make sure it's a string and to make sure it equals to, and if it's approved, it'll go down the true branch. If it's disapproved, it goes down to false branch. So I chose, like I said, if it says, I chose this variable equal to approved or disapproved, I chose approved. And when it's approved, it'll go down the true branch, but since it's disapproved, it goes down to false branch, it goes to another set node. So let's press play. So as you can see right here, it went down the false branch, right? So we set up another set node, top right corner, type in set, click on the little pencil icon there, brings this guy up. What we do here is we gave it the title, gave it mapping, feedback, and this time we actually have some response. So we take the feedback from the if node, drag and drop that in there. This time we have some information. So it's execute the step here. What that does, it gives us an output, and this time we actually have a variable, and it just says find out who his partners are, right? This sends it back to the email or the AI assistant, AI agent, to create a new email with our feedback to understand how we want to change or improve this email, right? So as we went back to what I said a second ago, the first set node, it was blank for feedback just because we need to know to let it know that there's going to be a variable, even though it's empty, to look out for it, right? So again, let's come back to the AI agent. This time, you have a better understanding as to why I put this in here. If there's feedback, to update or change the email with this information, feedback, right? Took that, drag and dropped it in there, because prior to this, it was blank, so it had no feedback. So that's how it works for the human in the loop. So that is done. So let's execute the step. It'll change up and take what our feedback is and make a better email output for us to confirm whether or not we approve it and go from there. So that is correct. We have the output. We have two different ones, subject and email body. So let's get out of that. Again, it goes into the human in the loop email. Come back to your email. Refresh this guy really quick. Let's check on this guy. And I'm not going to bother reading this because I already know I'm just going to approve it because it already took my feedback. And let's just choose approved. Choose submit. That is set to go. Come back to N8N. Play the if branch. Now that it says approved, like I showed you, it goes down a true branch. Goes into another Gmail node. And how you get this guy is a send message. So type in Gmail. Get this guy. Scroll down and choose. Where is it? Send a message right there. So how you get this set up, again, connect your credentials. Everything is still set up the same way. True. Subject, I left it as from the get high priority email. So subject, that is why we segmented it down in the first place. Email type is text. Message is an email body, and that is set to go. And I chose two different options to be turned on. One is to append NNN. I turn that off, and to turn on the reply to sender, and you can get that from the drop down in here when you see it. And that is it. So execute the step. Now it'll actually email me back because I sent the email. So since I sent the email, it'll send me back. It thinks that I'm the sender. So it gives me back the request or the email that I created, and that is all you got to go, thinking that I'm the one that sent the email in. So, hey, John, blah, 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 and it's all done. So that is how you actually set up your human in the loop functions for your email agent. So you can actually get in here to actually determine whether or not you approve or disapprove any high priority emails, so that now you won't let anything be left alone, and you can have all your customers or potential clients or complaints handled right away with your approval. And the last step here is Telegram. If you don't want to do that, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to have it attached. If you do, follow the steps, connect your credentials to Telegram. If you don't know how to do that, click on the top right corner there for the card. That'll walk you through the whole setup of how to connect Telegram to NNN. 4 minutes long. That's just there for you if you want to set that up as the way you want it. The simple thing here is to get your chat ID, and how you get this, and go into Telegram. Go back to the very beginning, and you go into the search bar, just type in get ID bot right there. And you type in this prompt /start, and you get your ID, which is right here, ending in 0249. This is mine. You'll have your own. If you use mine, it's not going to work. So make sure you find whatever is specific to yours. All right. And how it is have the text set up is going to be a fixed value, which is high priority email has been sent. Everything else is marked off. I turned off append NNN, and that is basically all that it is. So that is how you get yourself set up with human in the loop for any high priority emails. You can have this set up for any other branches if you so choose to. So if you want to do it for customer support, for finance department, low priority, whichever way you want, all you got to do is just copy and paste the exact same formula here. Change and tweak things around a little bit to make sure that the actual outputs are proper, and you have it all set up the exact same way. So again, if you want this entire workflow for yourself, join the free community by clicking the link in the description below. Grab it, download it, and have it pasted into your file right away, and you won't have any issues going forward. So if you found this video helpful or valuable, then take a moment to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, because that lets me know I'm doing a good enough job. And I'll keep on making this type of content for you to make sure that you are actually up to date with everything that's working in the world right now in AI automations. If you want to see more step-by-step automation for myself, then take a moment to click on the video that you see somewhere on the screen. There's more automation that I have built out for you. Follow along, join in, and have some fun. Until then, I'll catch you in the next video.